Yeah, I got it. I got it going now. We're live. We're good now. Yeah. You want me to do the intro? I mean, yeah, dude. I think you should probably definitely do the intro. That makes sense. That's how you got to start this thing. You sure you're ready? What is up, everyone? And thank you for checking out Don't Say the F Word. We are a pro wrestling and combat sports podcast. We do not use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. You shouldn't let your friends use it either. It is Sunday. It's our weekend wrestling show. And, well, I'm not going to lie to you guys. We're probably going to talk about the Royal Rumble mainly and the road to WrestleMania. Right? Yeet. What? No. Oh, yeah, you got your Yeet shirt on. It looks like we're out to have Joe in here. Let's see if we can get Joe in here. We're trying to get Joe added. I don't know. Are you hitting the right buttons? Dude, I'm definitely hitting the right buttons. It's absolutely hitting the right things. I know exactly what I'm doing here. I don't think you have any idea what you're doing. I mean, generally, no. Generally, no, I don't. But it says right here that Joe is being added. And so I think is what I think. Oh, yeah. I mean, we got comedian, actor extraordinaire Danny is going to be joining us as well. You got everybody coming in, huh? Yeah, I'm pretty popular. Everybody loves Mark the Monster because I'm the leader of the Puppet World Order. Yeah, dude, we know. There's no need to be so hyped on your own gimmick. I gotta sell the merch. That shirt's not even available at our merch table. That's just absurd. It's Joe's about to join us. Danny's gonna join us in. Now, Danny is here. Hey, Danny, how's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. An honor to meet the both of you.
Thank you. My name's Mark the Monster.
Mark, appreciate it. But very nice to meet you.
That's Mark. I'm Jeremy.
Mark,
co-host Joe will be here any moment.
Okay.
How's your day going, sir?
It's going pretty good. How's your day?
Fantastic.
Exciting
we're
night
in Cleveland, so it's a little cold. We got some snow going, but
I will. I mean, Cleveland's wonderful. I was in Cleveland like 6 months ago, maybe, and
nice.
I loved it. And I feel like the guy I was there with really hard sold me on Cleveland.
Oh, where were you at? Where were you performing in Cleveland?
I was doing these shows called Secret Society, which is this it's like all these shows in various places, but you do a weekend with them. They're great shows. Look them up, Secret Society Comedy. Just like great shows, and I was there for a weekend. It was so much fun.
I just said you're at Hilarities. Oh, awesome. It's a good club. Illegal brother-in-law Joe is in the house.
I'm in the house, y'all. Yeah.
Joe, Danny, Joe.
Joe and
What's up? Yeah, you too.
Joe is my illegal brother-in-law. Him and my wife are not legally siblings. So.
True story.
So,
True story.
I'm also not related to anyone here. Just want to clear that up. Yeah, we get it. Guys, it's Sunday. Sunday's generally weekend wrestling, but there's one thing in wrestling to talk about today. The Yeet Man, Jey Uso, winning the Royal Rumble.
See, I should have won my gut feeling.
Yeah, well, our gut feeling was way off. Danny, how did you feel about the Rumble?
No, first off, nobody had this. I don't think anybody had him winning it. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was one of the best. I like getting worked. That's what I love about wrestling, and I felt worked. I felt like when it ended, I didn't know that was how it was going to end, and I love that feeling. That's why I watch.
For me, and I said it earlier this week, whenever we were recapping Monday Night Raw, where do we go with Jey Uso? He's lost to Gunther. He's 15 seconds with the IC title. I said, put him and Jimmy back together. Let's just do the Uso thing again. And
I said, what if he did win? But then I kept my feeling with Drew. He's gonna win. But I did know Cena was not gonna win the Rumble. That's my gut feeling.
I thought Cena. I thought John Cena all day.
I mean that post promo he cut was unbelievable.
It seemed very heartfelt.
Yeah.
Some people are saying promo of the year. I think
early in the year.
Early.
So I think so far.
But man, he touched on a lot of things in a very short promo at the press conference. He's given back to the business, and he felt as though the best way is 17th world title, main eventing WrestleMania in Vegas is the best way for him to give back. John Cena's my hero. We know.
I'm still saying John Cena gonna win that title later on in the year.
You still don't think it's gonna be Mania, Joe?
My gut feeling is saying it's gonna be around SummerSlam. If you win that title, it's gonna be SummerSlam, y'all. Around SummerSlam.
Danny, what do you think? Does John Cena get a 17th title in?
He should. I like the idea of it. I mean, like he sold me with that promo of like, yeah, he deserves it. He has been such a loyal soldier for the past couple of years. He's just put over everybody. He is undeniably as big of a legend in this business as you can get. For him to get 17 makes sense. It feels right. And I agree that WrestleMania feels very crowded right now. And I don't know how you get Cena in the main event. But come SummerSlam, I like that a lot. I like anything, but I think he deserves number 17. He's a legend.
I've been saying since he said this is the end that he should get number 17. I thought he should win the Rumble because WWE is all about bringing eyeballs back to the product this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can use John Cena to bring eyeballs back, hey, that's the way to go.
Yep.
He's already announced he's going to be in the Elimination Chamber.
Told you.
Joe, you did predict that. So
said it all this time.
Well done,
I've been
Joe.
saying it. No,
well
I've been saying this whole time. This is going to be the beginning. It's going to be Cena coming in, ain't thinking he got the touch. He's going to keep losing, and then around SummerSlam he get that title.
SummerSlam could be good. WrestleMania doesn't need John Cena. That's for sure.
It's so crowded. It's so crowded right now.
So, with that, I mean, we're not spoiling the Rumble for anyone. Everyone knows Jey Uso won. So Jey Uso wins the men's Rumble. Let me ask you guys. So Raw's in Cleveland tomorrow.
I won't be there, y'all. Sorry.
Thankfully, I'm not going to be there. It's going to be crowded. It's going to be packed. They've redone the seating. They're going to fit more people in there. They're trying to get to 20,000 people in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse for tomorrow night. That's a small arena to put 20,000 people in.
Well, I know who they are already. Carlito's in town, I can tell you that.
Carlito's already in town.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of people in a very confined space. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I won't be at Raw tomorrow.
My friend works at the motel they stay at, and he already told me who all there. So
well, don't tell me anyone else. Don't give away nothing else.
I ain't gonna give away nothing else.
Yeah, no, don't spill the beans, Joe.
Yeah. I've gotten, there's many downsides to Hollywood. One of the upsides is you do have the ability to get some inside scoops, and I have said I do not like knowing. I want to be worked.
Spoilers suck. Spoilers suck.
Hey, they suck. But when you got friends and connection that run things, they tell me who all in town. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Joe, your friends are snitches. Don't commit crimes with them.
I just said one person. I ain't say the rest.
Who do you guys think Jey Uso picks?
He's gonna pick Cody.
No, he's gonna pick Gunther.
Cody better. Cody.
You guys are split.
We are split.
I think Cody be better.
I think I just don't think Cody's. How are you selling that babyface main event?
So that was my thinking too. How do you sell Jey Uso, the Yeet Man, huge baby face on Raw? But we have the bloodline element. The bloodline, as of yesterday, felt dead until now. Jey has a choice. Who can influence that choice Jey makes?
Mm-hmm.
You thinking Roman? I'm thinking Roman. Too soon to turn Roman heel. What about The Rock?
Rock would be great. I mean, it's that. Yeah, I just think he has to go. I just don't see, as long as Cody is champion going into Mania, I don't see how you're putting Jey against him, personally.
I agree. Gunther makes sense because that story's been being told. We just didn't think they were going to have Jey win the Rumble.
Totally. But I think it's a really, that's why I like it.
Swerve coming in. They went to a swerve. They swerved all this whole entire time. Yeah. I believe Cody be better. I believe it's going to be.
I wonder if anyone put money on Jey Uso. Did anybody win money on Jey Uso being in the Rumble? Winning the Rumble?
I said he was going to be in the final 7, my pick, and he was in it.
Danny, you got a lot of fans popping up in the comments. You guys got questions for Danny? Drop them in there. We'll get them answered.
Drop them in there. Try to keep it wrestling related for this one.
Yeah.
Wrestling related.
But I appreciate it. I appreciate it to the people.
Danny, are you a lifelong wrestling fan?
Basically, I took a gap. There was like a gap during like college, early 20s, where I just kind of like, I just had nobody who liked it around me. And I just sort of like pulled out for a hot second. But basically the whole time I've been into it. Yeah, as a kid was super into it and then just stuck with it. I've never really quit, but like there was a period right in the middle where it was like, it's just too much. But as a kid, I was big WCW, more than even than WWE.
Really?
It was a bit softer. I was a bit tamer. My parents were more on board with it. I think every time I turned on Raw during that time period, it was just so aggressive. And then and I turned on WCW, and it's just like all the old guys kind of figuring it out. So I was like, so WCW all the way. I was at Starrcade 97. I was at a bunch of like really cool events, and yeah, just in Virginia. But I loved it.
I say you grew up in Virginia, right?
Yeah.
So you had the Southern connection to WCW.
I had the Southern connection. Now, where I grew up in Virginia is a questionable South. I think to call it the South is a bit of a stretch. I think that we live on a border, but yeah, enough. It was during WCW's really hard phase. It was Attitude Era. And I just wasn't, my parents already weren't crazy about people fighting, but then that was like a step too far. They caught a couple Raws and they were like, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, Attitude Era Raw, you can go back and catch some of that stuff now. It's like, no one should have been letting me watch this. Everyone asking who the puppet is in the comments. Mark, introduce yourself. My name's Mark the Monster. I'm the leader of the Puppet World Order. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
I love that.
With you being a WCW guy growing up, who was your top 3 in WCW growing up?
Well, Sting was probably the number 1. Sting was like such a big, like that entire him versus NWO storyline that went on forever was like unbelievable. I think Hogan as a heel is just iconic at this point. As like, I don't think I liked him the most as a kid, but it's like his work during that time was just like truly amazing. The third is the big question mark, right? The third one's the toughest one. I'll say as a kid, so I'll go with my pure kid answer, which was Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was so little, and I was so little. And he started in WCW. Do you know? He did, right?
Yeah.
And I was like...
Because ECW, short period of time, really short period of time, then WCW.
That's what I thought.
Immediately followed.
Yeah. So, like, when he was in WCW, I just hadn't seen a small guy like that before. And so he was like, I just remember thinking he was the coolest. So I went with two obvious ones, but then the third one I did a little bit of sort, which was like Rey Mysterio was a big deal for me. I remember just being like, this is wild. But I stand by Sting, Sting taking the baseball bat and throwing it to the side and then letting NWO attack him is like an iconic wrestling moment that like I feel like should be top 10, and I feel like it never is. But that's one of the biggest pops that people don't talk about.
Sting's transition to being Crow Sting, that story was done so well. And you're right. That progress in the early phases, we always talk about him in the rafters and all of that. But those first few moments of the doubt we had going into War Games, was that really Sting with the NWO? And then they swerved us with NWO Sting. Like, it was a good storytelling.
They did great work. It was really great. So I for what like Sting, I'm always like, man, that guy was so big for me as a kid because he was sort of the one. He was great. They did such a good job, and that storyline went on so much longer than you remember. Because I've like checked back, and I've been like, because in my mind, I'm like, it took forever. And I look back, and I was like, it did take forever. It was years.
I did that. I did the research on that few episodes ago.
Yeah.
That was like a 2-year journey.
Yeah, about a month ago, we went deep on talking Sting.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I just was thinking about it the other day because I was like, yeah, that was really my sweet spot.
I have a theory about WCW's demise, and a lot of people point to different things. It's Goldberg's streak ending. It's the finger poke of doom. It's the NWO went on for too long, and all of those things are factors. But I think the thing that really did it was having Sting join the NWO.
Say the question one more time. So sorry, I got a call in the middle of it, and I was like trying to guess what the question was, and I was like, it feels important.
So for me, the death of WCW, people always point to different things. Finger poke of doom, Goldberg.
And when Sting joined NWO is the death?
Yeah, because Sting joining Wolfpack, I think made no sense.
It did make no sense, but at that point people were just flying back and forth. Like they had already lost. At that point, we were turning red, and then not NWO, and then Wolfpack NWO was just too many, and they just kept doing it. Everybody was flip-flopping left and right. I think the bigger, I'll always say like, and it's the same thing with AEW, where people are like AEW's product is falling apart, and I'm like, well, no, I think actually AEW's. You watch the product; it's still pretty good. It's that WWE's product got better, and and I think rather than like we constantly want to tear down, but it's like the thing nobody acknowledges about WCW was WWE like really got there. Like they got there with Stone Cold, they got there with those stories, and like they just had a better product. I think a lot of people look at WCW as this failing thing, but I really think more so it's WCW got WWE to be really good and then just couldn't match that next level, which is the thing AEW is running into right now, which is AEW is still great. It's a good product. It's just WWE is so hot that they just are going to have to really up their game.
And that's one of the things that we've talked about a lot is for the last 6 months, I think consistently me and Joan, we have a ratings partner, Rate My Wrestling on Instagram. Weekly, AEW shows have surpassed WWE shows for a quality of the individual show.
Yes.
WWE just has a lot of momentum. It has a lot of eyeballs. Doesn't mean it's better week to week, though. And it doesn't.
WWE has a better storytelling with the wrestler than AEW does. They just throw people in the matches every week.
That's the issue. Well, but early I was working for him. Early it was these I used to before like it really turned. I said I was like Dynamite is the best. Dynamite's the best weekly show.
Yeah.
By bullet. I was like, it's the best weekly. If you're just looking for a weekly, I want to watch wrestling for 2 hours. Dynamite's the best. Now it's everything they got, but every week they gave it everything they got. WWE was way more spread out. But now it's just WWE's. Everything's just clicking. They're just clicking.
Yeah, I jokingly, because people call this the Triple H era of WWE, I like to say it's the elite era of WWE because their WWE in 2025 feels like AEW in 2019. Feels like a wrestling show.
Completely. And the hope is they, AEW now ups their game. And that's what I hope. I still love everything they're about. So yeah, it's all good. But WCW, I think people point to WCW a lot as the fault
It
and
is
not
turned off.
WWE rising to the
It'll turn off.
occasion.
Yeah. I think the thing with WWE is whenever there's competition, they always excel. And they always have the ability and the knowledge base of 50 plus years of, we know we've done this to win before, so how can we adjust that to a modern audience?
Yes.
And they knock it out the park.
Completely. No, I think, yeah. But that's the death of WWE. WCW, I'll always defend as like, what did they really do wrong? These are all my wrestling guys, by the way.
Oh, awesome. That's an awesome wrestling room. What's the top collectible you have? What's your favorite thing you have possession of?
Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth,
Yeah,
together.
Awesome.
It's like one of the few.
Turn off, girl.
My wife got that for me. That's like one of the few things that like they ever sold together.
Man, you're right.
I've been working on a project about the two of them, and she like wanted to get me something that like had both, and she was like, it was impossible. This is like the only thing that existed. So I love it because it's the two of them together, and they were never together in one.
I can't think of anything they ever put out WWF oriented where they were together until long after the fact. I think
totally. This is them in the box.
Ooh.
That thing is mint.
Ooh.
That's an awesome find from your missus.
That's my coolest one. That's my coolest one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's worth some money right there.
There's a guy who does a great Macho Man impression who will hopefully be joining us in the next month or so on the podcast. He does great. Goes up to all the Comic-Cons as Macho Man. Does a fantastic job.
I've seen that guy.
Oh, you seen him? Oh, cool.
I've seen him. I've seen him like online, and I've been like, this guy is doing it dead on Macho Man.
He really does great. Hopefully next month or two he'll be joining us. But yeah, it's fantastic. We got some comments coming in. At Goat, it says his hot take: Jey should beat Cody for the title because Jey can bring in new challengers and totally new stories that we aren't getting with Cody Rhodes.
Bam! Told you. See, I told you.
If they're looking for shock value and they're looking for conversation immediately following, Jey beating Cody kind of works. But then where do we go?
It's the same place. We're just now we have it's the same energy as last time, just a different person. I don't know. I like it. I like it in theory. Here's what I'll say. I'd like Jey beating him at another event that is in a WrestleMania. You know?
Yeah.
Like if that was possible, but WrestleMania itself, I don't see how you can have that as a main event. Now we have two nights now in this ridiculous world we live in. So it could just be night one. It could be whichever night it is.
Got the question, why is the Wyatt Six off TV? So they've been moved to SmackDown. And the probable story is them with Braun Strowman versus Jacob and Tama Tonga.
One of them got injured. That's why they ain't been on.
Oh, really? Is
that true?
One of the Wyatt Six members got injured, and that's why they ain't been on yet.
There's 6 of them. Can't get
6. You can do 5.
No, they want to do them all. So one of them got injured. So
they barely wrestled to start with. They wrestled like 2 times, and then we lost them. I loved everything up until they started wrestling, and then they wrestled, and I was like, this is great. And then they were gone.
The 6 months raw. Told you.
Joe said it was going to last 6 months. When they came back, he said, I give this 6 months and the wheels are going to fall off of this and it'll be nothing.
Yeah,
and he was right.
I mean, obviously, you look correct right now. It's a very good.
In the moment, he looks right.
Very well done. However, I would say I think that, I don't know. I didn't think it was any fault of theirs. I wasn't losing interest in the story. It just disappeared.
I think for me, and I said this whenever they did it, their debut set the bar too high. They pushed things to a level that the only place to go from there, I mean, let's face it, it looked like they shot Chad Gable in the head on Monday Night Raw. So the only place to go from there was very violent matches. They would have to get no contest, no DQ. Things would have to go so crazy in the ring to meet up to where he debuted at. And you were just never going to be able to do it.
You know, I had an idea for when The Fiend was doing this. Because people were like, I was like, there was this thing The Fiend was doing early where he was so dominant, but he was like arguing with himself. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's The Fiend. I was like, The Fiend to me is, if he's focused, he's unbeatable, but he's not, he's a monster that destroys himself. And I thought that was a way to preserve his strength, but make it, so different. He's a mental wrestler. Like, you can beat him mentally because he's not right. And I still stand by for the Wyatt Six. It's the same thing of like, if you, because yes, the second they start, murdering people in the back, it becomes hard to be like, all right, well, what do you do once they're in the ring and they body slam someone? It's like, what is the thing? But if the thing is they can't, they're all tormented by whatever demon is inside of them, by the loss of the Fiend, etc. Once you're there, I think that has always been the way I would go about the story.
Yeah, that makes sense. That can work. You just have to mentally beat them because you're not going to beat them in violence.
Yes, you get they're bigger. There's it's that if you're committing to this thing. But I still say the Fiend. I mean, we all agree. I think the Fiend should have been bigger than it was, and we just kind of got lost in once he started doing normal matches. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't need the Wyatt Six to wrestle a ton, but I do need them on TV, which is why an injury shouldn't have pulled them off.
I think we could even have just one of them be the wrestler.
Totally.
Everyone else could be the support of the one wrestler. What? That works. Trust me, it works. You have it could be Bo. Bo could be the guy who gets in the. Everyone else is supporting Bo and helping Bo, especially through his mental.
That's it. To me, that's always the game. I agree. There's ways to do it that are so much more interesting, but I would also love to see them at WrestleMania, and I would love to see them have they're a perfect mid-card match where it's like, okay, what's with a big budget? What could you do in a match with those guys? You could do something really cool.
Yeah, they could have used them at the Rumble.
No. The Rumble wouldn't do no good for them.
You don't think? You think there was an avenue? I mean, you have a five guys.
I think last year's Rumble. I think this year the Rumble was so stacked with talent. It's like you can't have them in the ring with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. Like you can't. That was so stacked. John Cena. This was the most stacked Rumble to me of all time, as far as really letting our A guys in the ring in Royal Rumble.
We started off with Rey Mysterio and Penta, 1 and 2. What a great way to start the Rumble.
So smart. So the fact that it was so back ended with just monsters, and the fact that just early I was so invested, and really was oh, maybe it is this person, and then once it was CM Punk, I was like, what are we even talking about with the first 15? But I was so invested in the first 15, and then it was once we started, I was like, what are we even talking about? Rey Mysterio winning this thing? What are we doing? We have real stories to tell here.
I mean, there was an avenue for Ray to win. I don't think this year, next year, if we're telling the story of maybe we're creeping up to the end of Ray's career.
I think if it's the end, I think it'd have to be Ray has one. He's so serviceable where he is, and he's so good at what he does. And I hope he wrestles. He feels like he's got another 5 years minimum in him right now. Like
He's in great shape.
he's moving so good. He's still moving so well. He's so safe. Like all that stuff. Like he does so many good things. But yeah, when you get to the Cena end, that's when you do your all right. We're doing the real push. You know.
Yeah.
If this is last year, Cena goes out like 2 or whatever. I mean, it's, Cena was putting over NXT guys. I mean, he was doing everything he could.
Yeah, he really was. I got a lot of things coming in, things people aren't happy about from last night's Rumble. So,
Complaints.
Joe, I'm going to ask you first. I'm going to ask Danny. Is there anything you didn't like from last night's Royal Rumble? The Rumble match or the whole card in general? Anything that wasn't for you?
Charlotte Flair winning, Nikki being number 30. And I would say the tag team match, that could have been like at the Chamber instead of Rumble.
I'll give you the tag match just because it didn't get enough time. It had needed more time.
Yeah. The tag team match was good.
I was waiting. I was giving Joe time. I didn't want to be rude. Yeah, the tag match, I thought those are such talented guys. And it might have been like, there's so much WWE content every week that like I just really didn't. Maybe I didn't understand the full story going in, but felt like we were storyless. 2 out of 3 falls. Very confused why that was. Didn't seem to add much to it. Particularly because the first fall was so fast. So it was like, okay, I mean, what are we doing? So I thought that match struggled, but it's tough. I mean, to go in between Rumbles is impossible, which is what made Cody and KO so impressive. Because that match really did hold its own. Beautiful. Other than that, I mean, I liked a lot. I was frustrated for Drew McIntyre. I thought he deserved a moment, and even his plotline of I don't get a moment seemingly didn't get a moment in like almost a inception of him not getting the moments he deserves. I thought I felt bad for him. I thought that was really a bummer, and they're setting something up that's really good, I think, with him and Damian Priest, and I thought it sucked that they ruined that.
Yeah.
I know he was mad backstage. It sounded like he was mad backstage, and you do watch it again, and you're like, it was weird. It didn't feel right.
Yeah, that's the story. That Drew was upset once he got back in the gorilla position and stormed out of the building.
It's another plot twist, y'all. It's a plot twist. They're getting us again. Don't fall.
I think so. I think we're getting worked.
All right. I mean, well, but it did look bad. So I'll say this: if it was worked, it's a work that I think they had to come up with afterwards because I can't imagine they were like, "Hey, make it look sloppy." Like I can't imagine now.
Hey,
it looks sloppy. Now it might have been a smart. Hey, it's an inception of even in my moment where I don't get my moment. Let me run with it. That could have been a really smart swerve, and in that case, they got me. But I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to fake sloppy.
Hey, remember, he did the same thing when CM Punk came back at the end of Survivor Series. Stormed off.
He did. I forgot about that. He did storm out of the War Games match.
Yeah, but Seth really had the moment. It's funny because I forgot about Drew because Seth really was the one who threw the hissy fit.
Yeah. Drew did walk out of there.
Which was a work, by the way. Seth one was a work, so I'm sure Drew was partially a work. But I don't know. I just say it's very hard to fake. It's very hard to do sloppy well. Like,
And the rush to get all the spots in there at the end was it's a premium live event. It's PLE. I think they have time for some things to run a little bit, so we don't got to rush to fit everyone's shit in the Rumble. I think we could have just gone an extra 3 minutes.
Yeah.
The
I mean, I'm getting
celebration for Jey was so long. There was time.
total. I mean, yeah. I mean, they just have such a plethora of options right now. Like, there is just that thing really front to back, minus like a couple wrestlers. There's very few who entered where I was like, that isn't a great wrestler entering. Um, you know, I think yeah, the men's roster is so deep right now for WWE, so deep with talent. It's just it's great. It's great stuff. Yeah, so I'm like they could have cut that tag match and given it to the men's rumble. I don't think anybody would have been bummed.
Yeah, I think there's other places that DIY and Motor City Machine Guns could have their 8th match. I mean,
Yep.
weekly these guys have a match.
Totally, and that's why I was like, and that's why I was like trying to like when they came out, I was like, this is where because I mean, I do stand up most nights, like I can't watch most things, I have to always keep up, and then watch the highlights and kind of like keep up for most things in wrestling. And when they came out, I was like, boy, I feel like I've read these guys fighting now for months, but I couldn't tell you what the actual story is. Besides, they just keep fighting.
Okay, the story is that somebody attacked them, the Motor City Machine Gun, during DIY title belt feud, and what was it? Apollo saw who did it, and that's when the whole story came about. And they tried to blame it on what's the other team?
They blame the Street Profits, right?
They blamed Street Profits
ran in at the end,
and then the other team, they just fought. Not the what they call them?
Town Down Under.
No, the other one. The British group. I forget the name.
When did this first incident occur?
Pretty Deadly. That's it. Pretty Deadly. When DIY won the first tag belts. When they won the tag belts, when Johnny Gargano turned heel, that's when it happened.
Yeah.
So that's like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. So for 6 weeks we've been. So for 6 weeks we've been doing this.
Been doing the same matches, same story for 6 weeks, and that's not long. To me, that's not long-term storytelling. That's lazy booking, in my opinion. Just for me.
I mean, there's a difference between, and I think AEW. I think this is always like wrestling. I say like there's a big difference between long-term storytelling and just doing a thing for a long amount of time.
Yeah. Sometimes they just keep going to the well, and we're not telling a story. We're just doing the same shit.
Totally.
Joe, you mentioned you weren't happy about Charlotte Flair winning the women's one.
Nah, I wasn't.
Why not?
I mean, I think Perez should have won. She'd have been better fit for it. You got Charlotte, who about to come up 15 women trying to tie with Daddy-O, maybe 16. I don't know where she at right now, but
she's got to be
really don't mean no
close
point.
to her dad's titles. She got to be close to 16.
Yeah, so I think she had 15. This could be a 15th one if she wins it, but still, she shouldn't have won. And then when you seen the pyro, her entrance, I'm like, oh, she won. There you go. No need to watch it. Oh, yeah. I mean, Perez did a better job in the match for that. How she was in there for a long She was like the fourth one in there, and she managed to stay the last two. Yeah, she did a better job than Charlotte, so she should have won. It'd been better had another swerve with the women.
Danny, what are your thoughts?
I think I'll never argue with Charlotte going to getting main evented. She delivers every time, every single time, every WrestleMania. Charlotte over delivers her match. She is to me like she is a Bryan cabbage, and she'll somehow make me care. Like, she just always makes me care. And it's like there's very few wrestlers who can do that for me, where it's like CM Punk is really good at it too. Just like, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter how little story time he has, he's gonna make me care. He's gonna get me invested. She does it every time. I'm never gonna I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I'm just never gonna I'm never gonna argue with Charlotte Flair being in the main event, being at WrestleMania in a big match. She's always gonna deliver for me.
I think it would have been hard for WWE to not put the last name Flair main eventing WrestleMania in Vegas.
That's true too.
It's a marquee name. Who else do you put up there with that much notoriety just in the name?
Besides The Rock, I mean, yes, and but in the women's side, it's yeah.
Women's side different. Women's side different though. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's some other women's stars for the record. I think there's a lot, and Becky Lynch is still somewhere in the world.
She was backstage.
She was there, but not. So we'll see. But like, yeah, it's like they got stars. Rhea and Liv, I think, of one of the best stories going in all of wrestling. Better yet, women's. But Charlotte is a star, and I just have faith in Charlotte, and that's where I'm at with her. I just have faith in her as a product. She just always delivers for me.
That's the genetic gift of being a Flair.
Yeah.
Joe, you mentioned Becky being there, not being used. I will give I have one complaint about the Rumble, and it's such a minute thing, grand scheme of things. Omos was there. He was back. He was in catering. How do you not put him in the Rumble? Just
yeah, Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. That's a better rivalry going on right now than trying to start a feud with.
But you could have. Omos would have been great for one key thing in the Rumble. You could have had Braun Breaker eliminate Omos.
I think they got something better.
Where's Omos signed right now? Is he still at WWE?
He is with WWE.
So he went to Japan for 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
He won tag titles for Pro Wrestling Noah.
Right.
And then he had to relinquish them to be at the Rumble. So WWE called him back home.
Oh.
And he was there. He was in Indiana. He was at the arena in gear. They never
signed to
WWE. Gave him a number.
Oh, didn't know that part.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
well, then, yes, that is odd. Then, yes, that is certainly an odd situation.
I would have thought him, a Braun Breaker eliminating Omos, visually would have looked great for Braun Breaker. Yeah. New feud could have been done. If just to carry us to Mania with Braun Breaker, something in between there for him to do, it was right there.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is those really big, slow guys are just brutal eliminations at Rumble. It's just a really hard elimination to pull off, I think, physically when you're that size.
Yeah.
And so, like, Omos, like, we've done it before, and, like, it's always kind of ugly when he comes out. I didn't need him. We had so much. There was so much in the men's side. I didn't need him. But I didn't know they pulled him back from Japan. That does make no sense.
Yeah. He had to give up his tag titles and come home.
Yeah, that I don't understand. So they got me there. But I didn't need him in it. But why are we doing that? What are we doing?
He could have just stayed over there if you weren't going to use it. But
I guess on Raw he might come in and do that.
Maybe.
He may be wrong.
Got the question of what did we think of I Show Speed getting destroyed by Braun Breaker? So I don't know who Speed is.
Oh, YouTube. Okay.
I'm too old.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. You really know who
Literally,
he is?
no clue who he is.
Okay. Okay.
No idea.
Basically, he did like reality on YouTube and made a star of his name. So the reels, the highlights, all that stuff, that's what he does.
So is
He's
he a gamer? Like, is he like a video game streamer or?
he's an everything streamer. He's sort of the next level of streamer that exists now, where it's like they're streaming video games, but they're also just streaming life and really chaos at all times. It's just kind of like chaos and like almost like the Kardashians, but just on your own. Like it's just one person. He's just putting himself in situations and he's lighting shit on fire in his house. Like he's just doing
Real?
shit. Yeah, he's all. I mean, I get it. I like him. But I like him in the sense that I like reality TV, where I'm like, this isn't necessarily the art that I love and want to be creating in the world, but I get it, and he's good at it. He knows what he's doing, and he did I enjoyed it. I think that if you don't like that, then you don't like Colin Jost, and you don't like the everything. Like just because you don't. I heard a lot of old people complaining about and not to insult, but I heard a lot of the olds
Yeah.
complaining about I Show Speed, and I was like, this is every year. It's Drew Carey. Name a person. Like this is a classic bit. It's somebody younger. You don't know him, but like he worked. He took a fucking monster hit.
He did.
Dude, that was nuts.
And I'll tell you right now, like watching I Show Speed, like he puts his body on the line all the time. That's part of his thing. I guarantee you, he was like fucking spear the shit out of me, and it worked, and it was awesome. I really I loved it. And if you don't like that, you don't like that gimmick every year. And I always enjoy a little celebrity something in the Rumble.
So me not knowing who he was, like I assumed a Logan Paul adjacent YouTuber. I liked the spot because it just made Braun Breaker look that much more badass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go check out some of his stuff on YouTube because I truthfully no clue who he is.
I'll say it.
But
At first, he started off like a prankster. Then he turned the prankster into gimmicks, and then started making like a little sitcom, but being funny about it. Then the
But
stream.
reality sitcom,
Right.
like not a script. Like he doesn't write or anything like that.
So he's just kind of streaming a day in the life of being this guy.
Yeah. But he'll do like bigger gimmicks. Like he'll do a day in the life, but I have like, I mean, it's chaos. I mean, it's like a day in the life, but I have 100 lizards in my room or some shit. But it's engaging. I mean, like it's unequivocally like I get him. I like him, and I get what he's doing. I get, dude, the amount of time that he has to sacrifice. Like I'm all on board with I Show Speed, and I thought he did a great job with the spot.
I got it for you. Think of it like this. Think about the MTV TV shows back in the day where they had reality stars doing it, and they had a script and showed it, but this time it's unscripted. Everything's just going with the flow.
So like Bam Margera, like his
There we
show.
go. Like his show.
Yes.
Viva la Bam.
Yeah, he's like a 2025 Viva la Bam. It's just kind of like they're doing wild shit.
Yeah.
He's jumping over cars. I mean, he that are going full speed at him. Like that's the thing. He's taking some wild. He did was it him?
He did.
Who did the backflip on the hand of God?
Yeah.
He did that.
You gotta watch that one. Watch that one.
I give you both my word. I will check him out.
Like he, him, taking that hit was like, that's, if you're gonna do a Rumble spot, like that's how you do it.
I give him credit. He turned at the right time too.
Turned right at the right time. Like, I mean, that looked like it hurt so much.
It was such a brutal bump. Like, it was rough.
Yeah.
We got Ian, who is at What You Say. Here's his prediction. The Rock shows up, maybe not on Raw, but soon, and tells Jey, "Give me your spot," and Jey obliges, gives it to The Rock, and then we get Rock versus Cody. I don't know about that.
I love it until Jey obliges. I love it
That's
until that moment. I think it's a great idea. I just think that we all, I think, but Jey versus The Rock is great. Jey versus, the thing with The Rock has always been, from my understanding, he can't run.
yeah.
His knees are shot. Is my inside Hollywood sources.
Yeah.
So
He's had both ACL surgeries, I think.
I think that's the least of his issues.
Yeah.
I think his knees are fucked. So I think you could do Rock, Solo, Roman, Jey in a four-way. I mean, you could do so many different things with the bloodline. Like the bloodline should. I mean, I guess that was a waste of Jey because they need a belt somewhere in there. But I also think I don't know. I like The Rock and Jey, but I don't think The Rock can be in a solo match. I think he needs someone else. I think he needs 3 or 4 so he can do a couple spots, get himself together. Because they did in my opinion, masterful job last Mania of using The Rock, but very much like keeping him to the spots that he can do. And he looked phenomenal as a result. But it was because there was 3 other people kind of doing spots, and then he can move a little, and that's what you need to do because he looks great and he's still so strong. I don't think he can run.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you think about last year's Mania, the other 3 guys did carry him along.
Which makes sense. I mean, you're that old. I mean, that's the thing about Cena that's pretty amazing is I think Cena has been working hard enough that I think he's going to be able to do some solo matches. But even so far, Cena, it's when you're that old and your body, not just old, they're not even that old. It's just old in wrestling, right? Their bodies are destroyed.
Yeah.
They put so much on the line for us fans, and we are so grateful. And so, it's like, how do you hide that? And the way you hide it to me is 3-way matches, 4-way matches, tag matches, anything, elimination chamber, Royal Rumbles. Those are great places to, what moves do you got left in you? And even like Stone Cold versus Kevin Owens that one year where it was like, okay, he can land on his back. We're going to land on his back 100 different ways, but just nothing. Like, that was so well done, the way they disguised Stone Cold.
Yeah.
That's what you need. It's what it takes.
And hats off to Kevin Owens for that Stone Cold match. He put Austin down flat every time.
Unbelievable. Such great. Yes, like I'll always lose my shit for wrestlers protecting other wrestlers.
Joe, would you be interested in The Rock's involvement in Jey Uso?
Nah.
I'm afraid if Jey obliged, Jey becomes a heel.
If Jey obliges, everyone's furious. He can oblige. The Rock can take it from him. The Rock, it's like something like that. But Jey is so over right now. There's no reason to waste that.
We have the follow-up statement from this is Austin at Austin Erickson. Man, dude, you have too many numbers. I'm not saying all the numbers after your Austin Erickson.
I never know which Austin Erickson it is.
So he says Jay's not over. Jay's entrance is over, not Jey.
That's messed up.
I'm wearing a Heat shirt, man.
Jey is
I
over,
disagree.
y'all.
I
Jey is over.
I disagree, but I respect the opinion. I respect you. I respect you, Austin Erickson, 127599257. But I also think, I think
it's a lot of numbers. it's four phone numbers long.
But no, I think Jey is very over, and I think that the excitement of him winning last night is kind of hitting people.
particularly with Cena's thing afterwards. Like, I
Mhm.
think it's like, and he can fight. There's so many things with Jey. I think he's over, personally.
Um, I did see that in the first 12 hours, the celebration for Jey Uso had almost 20,000 dislikes on YouTube.
Hey, I saw it. It's at 22,000 now.
Here's my thing with that is I don't think that's actually indicative of fans not liking something. I think it's indicative of people who are willing to dislike a video on YouTube.
Nah,
How
I
many
think
videos do you like and dislike on YouTube? It's
I think it's just to hit the
minimal.
dislike. They just hit the dislike because everybody wanted Cena to win. That's all it was. Everybody wants Cena.
But Cena's gonna get it. Cena's gonna be fine. If Cena wants his moment, he's gonna get his moment. And the fact that people, the best thing that can happen to you in wrestling, in my opinion, is to lose when people wanted you to win. It is by far the best thing that can happen to you. Cena now is going to get to, at some point, I do think, challenge for the 17th, and people are going to be so fired up, which is really hard to do for John Cena at this point in his career, that we are like, give him a chance. The most decorated, like the most decorated wrestler of all time, and we're like, come on. But it's like, that's what you want. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it worked in that sense. He's fighting Gunther. He's not even going to be near Cody. Like, I think it's great. I think it gives Jey a big moment, and at least, like, because I don't think he's going to become champion, pays off this moment he's having, because we don't know how long it's going to last. You know, eventually, you know, with LA Knight, right? Like, you're at the top, and then now you're a good baby face, but you're not what you were the one for a second. And we never paid it off with LA Knight, in my opinion.
No. And my concern with that is if LA Knight were to get really, God, of course, I hope this doesn't happen. If he gets like a bad injury, it's hard to rebuild the organic momentum that he's gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he would recover well enough to do the big return pop. And now I'm going to be the guy. When it comes to Jey, and we're talking, it's funny to me that people are upset that Jey won versus Cena or Roman. Whenever Cena and Roman winning the Rumble used to piss people off to no
Completely.
To me, that's nuts.
I think it's more of the fact that you got a tag team star main event at WrestleMania.
Oh,
That's what it is. Everybody still believe him as a tag team star, not a single, and that's why everybody doubting him.
Main
For the
event, Jey
singles
Uso.
run.
Main event.
Main event.
Main event. Heat.
He's a breakout tag team superstar, and that's what everybody still see him as. He's
Heat,
a tag
sir.
team.
Heat.
Let me ask you both. As we look ahead to the road to WrestleMania, will Jey Uso have to defend his spot? So will WWE book it in a way where fans may think they're going to get what they want? Will Jey defend his championship spot at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, against The Rock, against throwing anyone? Are they going to play with our emotions? Like, Jey could lose this.
Jey losing this is really fun. They totally could do that. I mean, that's the thing, is like, the cool thing about Jey winning is there's a lot of options. Like, there's a lot of different things, because it's not. I think the only thing I don't feel confident in is he's fighting Cody, right? That's the one I think I'm the least likely. It's like, you could just put him on Gunther, or you could have him lose it. You could have him have to defend it. You could have The Rock you could do so many things with it, which I think is fun. What I don't see is a straightforward line to Cody. That's the one. That's the only one I don't see.
Yeah, there is a lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, what do you think? Could Jey have to defend this main event spot? And could he lose it?
I mean, yeah, I'll probably say they probably gonna do some kind of twist plot like that, or you got Mr. CM Punk with his favor.
That's a great point too.
And
that
I
favor
kind of forgot about the favor.
kept missing it all last night. But at the
I
end,
know.
But it's a great suggestion because you're right. We've all thought about it as him and Roman. The favor is from Paul Heyman to Roman. No one thought the favor would be Paul Heyman to Jey. And it makes us that Jey isn't quite as observant to Paul Heyman, so it isn't just a guaranteed he'll do it. That's a great idea. Great idea.
Yeah, it could even be Punk. Throw me in the match, Jay picks, make it a triple threat.
Yeah.
I know a better solution. Remember I told you I had an idea what could happen with prediction?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to tell you what happened. What always happened at Cena at the Elimination Chamber?
God, man, I don't know. When's the last time Cena was at the Elimination Chamber?
Okay, well, anyway, let's break it down. He gets screwed at the end. At every chamber match he wins, he gets screwed. He got screwed by Edge. He got screwed by Batista. He could get screwed by CM Punk at the Elimination Chamber and use the favor that night and cash in and take his spot at the WrestleMania.
So you're saying we could have Cena win the Elimination Chamber and Punk take it away from Cena?
That night in Canada.
But how would Paul Heyman have any influence over Cena?
He got high connection saying that he could have a match anytime he feels like for the winner to have spot to take it.
Yeah, but he's not. But Paul Heyman isn't a Money in the Bank. He's a
He's
wise
man.
man.
He's a wise
man.
He's a
only
wise
wise
man that has favors.
He's connected.
He got power.
You're treating Paul Heyman like he's Money in the Bank, walking around.
Well, that's kind of what we got to believe, though, right? What else could the favor be? The favor has to be Paul Heyman can help CM Punk get to the main event somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
My
good stuff.
is it when CM Punk uses the Paul Heyman favor, is there any way he uses it and he remains a babyface?
Oh, he'll be a heel that you want to be. He screwed Cena. What better way to do that than to screw Cena out of the title shot?
Good luck turning CM Punk heel.
And I've been very adamant. He should be a heel. Like, from a fan perspective, from a company perspective, he should be being booked as a heel. But he's not. And no one's going to do it. Like, nobody's going to do it.
The thing is, how do you do it? I mean, he punched a wrestler. He choked a wrestler out, switched companies, and to a company he said he'd never work for again, and he came out and the place exploded. It's like there is no way.
Should have booed him.
Of course.
They should have booed CM Punk.
Of course, but they didn't, and because we all have such an affinity for him. So, and myself included, I don't think I could ever boo CM Punk anymore. So that's my thing of yeah, you're right. At some point, they have to turn him heel at some point. But good luck to all parties because it's going to be hard.
It's going to be really hard to do. And you would think that however it is he uses Paul Heyman's favor, it's in this moment right now with the landscape as we see it going toward WrestleMania, every use of Paul Heyman is a heel move. If he uses it to face Cody, Cody's the biggest baby face the business has seen in 10 years. It's kind of a heel move. If he uses it to screw Jey, kind of a heel move.
But he better do it against Cena. It'd be the best heel move on his last
Would be the ultimate heel move.
It would definitely be. It would definitely be a heel move, and obviously there's a lot of Punk Cena history, which is great. I don't know how those. Yeah, they can do anything. I don't know. There's a lot of options.
They can do
So
anything.
I was gonna say you got two older wrestlers going in there against each other. That's gonna be tough, but the two of them seemingly are really holding up well.
Yeah, I mean Punk's in amazing shape.
Amazing.
Cena should be studied in a lab because that dude's ridiculous.
The fact he's still running down even every time he runs, I'm like, my guy, your hamstrings must be just so strong. He's sprinting.
That entrance
Yeah.
was so long. It was a quarter mile.
And he's sprinting it, and it's like, dude, I mean, I work out a lot. I'm pretty decent shape. Like, I can't go into a full on sprint like that without
Adrenaline's a hell
stretching
of a drug.
myself.
Mhm. Hold on.
Sorry, I
Well,
cracked
let
my
me.
child.
That's me. That's me.
I'm surprised Joe's daughter hasn't made her cameo. The
Come on.
kids always seem to make a cameo on the show.
Do they?
Yeah.
Hi.
There she is.
Cameo. There you go. Wait,
Joe, are
bro,
you and your
wait.
daughter both rocking Bluey shirts?
It's Sunday, and she likes to pick shirts, so she said it's Bluey Day. So you know.
I love
Do you
it.
know what I realized halfway through this is true about me?
Sting shirt? Look at that.
I realized at some point I was like, oh God, I'm wearing a Sting shirt.
Look at that. See, it's not just a gimmick. He's living it.
I live like I'm here.
We got one last thing to do today, guys.
All right.
Who were your wrestler of the week?
Oh, I got mine already.
Okay, you go first.
Well,
JD.
JD McDonough?
JD.
Fair.
You know, it's kind of funny. Such an eventful week in pro wrestling. I kind of forgot JD McDonough's miraculous finish to his match.
I knew it. I knew it ever after I watched that match. Bam! He came back, finished the whole entire match.
Punctured lung, three broken
lung.
ribs.
Punctured lung.
Finished the match.
When I see
Crazy.
the end of that match, I said, "That's it. I don't care who's going on the rest of the week. That's who I'm picking." I stuck with it.
It's a good, solid pick. And JD McDonough has never been our wrestler of the week. That's never happened. Danny, how about you? Wrestler of the week.
I'm going to say the biggest. All right. I'm going to say, like, because I'm looking at start of the week, down of the week, who's probably dominating the story more than anything else. And as crazy as it is, that Cena promo changed my outlook on WrestleMania. Like, he fully gave us all. He just changed what John Cena was to this next year. What seemed like a fun retirement end of year tour now feels like a real contender, and he did that in the span of 1 week, basically.
Yeah, I mean, one showing in the Rumble, one press conference promo, and it went from John Cena waving goodbye to John Cena having a mission statement.
Yep. And we're all and he looked good in the Rumble. It felt like it was going to be him winning, and then it's like I think that I think he had just a spectacular week as far as making us all talk about John Cena and really feel like John Cena should win the title by the end of the year. Out of nowhere. A week ago I would never have said those words.
Yeah.
I
mean, he was effective in his look of disbelief when he was eliminated.
Yeah.
You couldn't have wrote words to tell a better story than just the look on his face.
Yep.
For me, my wrestler of the week didn't achieve any great feat this week other than cutting an amazing promo on SmackDown. Jacob Fatu.
That was good.
I thought he did a lot of good stuff in the Rumble, for the record, too.
He did. He did look great in the Rumble. His promo on Damian Priest, it did something that our regular listeners, our regular viewers will know. He made me give a shit about something with Damian Priest again. I want to see Priest and Fatu.
I'm sure you will.
I think those two will be able to have really, really good matches. Their styles will align. And, man, Jacob Fatu, that's a great promo. He's just good. He's believable.
Yeah. He's great.
And I do wish AEW would have gotten him. I really wish they would have signed him.
You gonna mess with the Samoan dynasty? Come on.
could have worked on building their own. They could have gotten him and Zilla.
Nah.
The AEW has enough talent. They don't need more talent.
That's valid. It is
The biggest thing
deep
they
roster.
need right now is not talent. They need everything else right now.
Yeah. Yes, they do. But the talent they have puts on great matches every week. You want to see the best in ring? Wednesday Night Dynamite.
Yep. Every time. Every time. And unfortunately, everything else is struggling a bit. But they're going to figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Yep.
They will.
I think it'll be they figured out one big thing already. Arena size for the presentation for the television product.
Mm-hmm.
These last few weeks, what they've put on TV has looked a lot better
Yes.
than the last couple months.
Totally.
So
Totally.
I think that's one big thing is it looks better on my television set.
100%.
I can go with that.
Danny, what do you got coming up? Where are you going to be? Where can people find you?
Oh boy. Well, I'm in LA, but you can see me in. Boy, do I wish I had it up in front of me. Boise, Chattanooga, Glendale, Arizona, Youngstown, Ohio.
Okay.
So it's outside of Chicago, a bunch of Texas. Really, any place in Texas you can think of, minus San Antonio at the moment. There's a date for all that stuff. You can also see a special called You Choose on YouTube. It's a Choose Your Own Adventure special. You can catch me in Ted on Peacock and Hacks, next season of Hacks. And most of all, outside of thank you for having me, and I love wrestling, I always end every podcast, or what do you call it? Close podcast? What do you call it?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Okay.
It's just I love a live form podcast.
Yeah.
I love it being live, getting the comments coming through.
Sure. The thing I always say is stand-up comedy is like hockey. It's fun to watch on TV, but it's just a different experience live. So whether I'm coming to your city or not, please look up your local comedy club. Look the next 4 comics coming. Make sure you can find 10 minutes uninterrupted of actual stand-up comedy from one of them, and then buy a ticket and go see live stand-up comedy. It's the best night of your life, and you'll never stop going.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
That's it.
Danny, thank you for making time to join us today. I'm glad you enjoyed the Rumble. I'm glad we were looking to book the road to WrestleMania for WWE. So I'm sure Triple H checks out the show.
Yeah.
So we have put a lot of things together for you, Paul. So take note.
Yeah.
None of us need payment. We just need tickets.
I can say this though. My bracket's starting to start good this week, y'all.
So who got victories, Joe? We are doing a tournament of folks getting victories on TV, AEW and WWE.
I got the bracket here. Yeah, okay.
All right.
As of right now, Jay and Danny Garcia got 1 win.
So Rumble only count as 1 win?
Well, it started in February, so February only fair. So
yeah, it's only 1 match. He gave him 29 victories. Oh,
Give him a
otherwise he would dominate because Joe's point system works kind of like the Continental Classic.
yeah. So don't worry. You got a while. Don't worry.
All right.
Everyone, thank you for joining us today for our Week in Wrestling, which is mostly just a Royal Rumble recap. We plan to be back tomorrow to preview Raw. Tomorrow is my wife's birthday, so my day may get a little crazy. But Danny, thank you for joining us. Love your Sting shirt.
Appreciate
Joe,
it.
your Bluey shirt's awesome.
Got that Bluey, y'all.
And we will be back. That should be tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we'll be back Wednesday, everyone. Danny, thank you again.
All right.
We're out, everybody.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.